Hey, welcome back to episode 15 of the Wellness with Vanda podcast. I'm so excited to be back here with you guys this week. And this is probably going to be somewhat of a short episode, but I wanted to talk about something that I have not discussed on the podcast yet, and that is real self care and my approach to adding self care in on a regular basis every day and kind of how I manage that. And so, first of all, I think that self-care gets a bad rep. Like, we think of self-care as being more like extravagant things, like going to get, not that these are extremely extravagant, but just like things that take time and money. Going to get a pedicure, going to get a massage, going to get your hair done. Um, I think that's traditionally what we think of when someone says, "Well, what are you doing for self-care?" And if you really think about it, those things, like, yes, they might bring you joy. Yes, they're caring for your body. Yes, they can be forms of self care. But if self care is something that we're supposed to be doing on a regular basis, as frequently as possible, we can't go get a pedicure every day. We can't go get a massage every day. We can't go get our hair done every day. So we need to find things that are in what I consider in my mind to be truly self care. And these are things that either care for my body, care for my mind, care for my mood. In some way they like lift me up, boost me up. So there was a tactic to this that I learned several years ago from Lindsay Chambers. Lindsay Chambers. I don't know why I just stumbled over that. She's a mindset coach, and she called this method her 3 for me. And that was just, I had a newborn at the time and I loved the idea, but it was just overwhelming to me and I needed to modify it because the whole point of doing this act, having this practice, is that every day you feel like you've got to do something for yourself. And that is so key, especially for a new mom that is in that phase of like postpartum and newbornhood. And maybe you've got other toddlers at home, or maybe even you don't. It's just like a really overwhelming time where you feel like you are doing everything for everyone else and you have nothing left for yourself. So it was really like, it was at a crucial time that I learned about this. But with the 3 for me, you were supposed to do 3 things for yourself every day. And that's great and all, but it was just, I couldn't get it done. I couldn't achieve it. I would go into each day and I would pick out what my 3 things were going to be, and I just couldn't get it done. And so at the end of the day, instead of feeling good because I got to do something for myself that day, I felt bad because I didn't get to do enough for myself that day. I didn't get to do all 3 of the things I wanted to do. And, there would be some days where I'd get all 3 done, but more times than not, it was only 1 or 2 things that I could get done and fit into my day. And so it just kind of occurred to me one day. I was like, well, why am I trying to do 3 things if I've pretty well proven to myself that I don't have the time or the capacity or whatever to do the 3 things right now? Why don't I just try 2? Why don't I just try 1 some days? And so that I really like kind of flipped the script on that and decided that I could do 2 things a day. And I have always referred to this as my 2 non-negotiables. If you've been hanging out in my realm for a while, you have heard me talk about this before. But I think it's a good time, even if you have heard me talk about this before, to have a reminder, because I know that at this like end of winter, coming into spring, but like there's another Arctic blast on the agenda soon. Um, it's just a good time to remind yourself that self-care is still important and you still need to be working on it and being intentional about it every day. And when you do, you feel so much better. So I've kind of already explained what the 2 in it is, but to like lay it out there for you, you're choosing 2 things that you're going to do just for yourself during that day that bring you joy or care for your mind, body, soul, something in some way. And once you commit to those 2 things, you need to like make sure you get it done, because that's the key. The key here really is it is about the things you choose that you're doing because they're rewarding and they bring you joy, but it's also the satisfaction at the end of the day to say, yes, I said that I was going to do these things for myself and I did it. So, some of my everyone's tuning in, the things that they choose are going to be different because what brings me joy might not bring you joy. Um, some rules to it kind of are like this can't be things that you're doing for someone else. It really needs to be something that you are like just selfishly doing for yourself because it brings you joy. So it can't be like, well, it brings me joy to see my kids play soccer. So today, one of my things is going to be going to their soccer game or taking them to their soccer practice. It's because you're really doing that for your kids. You're not really doing that for you, even though that brings you joy. You're not really doing it for you. I'm talking about something that you want to do for yourself. So it might be reading a book. It might be listening to a book if you're like me and you don't have time to read, but you can do Audible. Um, it might be sitting in your favorite spot in your house in silence for 5 minutes and enjoying a tea, coffee, mocktail, whatever. It might be going through a 5 minute yoga flow that you really enjoy and makes you feel good when you're done. It might be using like a really nice lotion that smells good and like makes you feel good. It might be doing a facial on yourself at home. It can be literally anything. It just is something that you do for yourself that you enjoy while you're doing it and it brings you joy, cares for your body in some way. So, and again, you pick two things, and typically the way that I recommend you do this is like first thing in the morning, you can think about what you want your two things for that day to be. Or you could pick it the night before when you're going to bed for the next day. Um, I don't typically, my two things are not the same thing every single day. Sometimes they are because, like in the summer, I take a walk outside almost every morning and I love to do that. And it truly does like fill my cup up. But it's like if okay, the summer lasts, let's say 2 to 3 months. If I'm doing that every day for 2 to 3 months, does that really count as one of my two in Yes, it sort of does, but I kind of push myself at that point to be like, at this point, that's a habit, and I'm looking to expand beyond what my normal habits are. So, I just wanted to like talk about that a little bit today because, like I said, as we are at the end of winter and it's like the weather's getting better, but it's still not great. And it sounds like we're going to have some really crappy weather in the next few weeks. Um, I'm just, I need to be intentional about this, especially with like, I've been feeling bad and feeling tired and stuff. So I haven't been as diligent about doing something for myself every day. Like I've literally just been surviving the day and getting by. And that's not ideal. And I'm finally like coming out of that first trimester ick a little bit, I think, knock on some wood somewhere, someone, um, and starting to feel better. So I need to get back into some of my self-care practices. Um, okay, so last thing that I wanted to leave you with, today's Tuesday, when you're hearing this, or when this, I don't know when you're hearing it, but when this goes live, it's Tuesday. And on Friday of this week, so on the 16th, is that the right day? Is that the right day? Let me look. Yes, the 16th at noon Eastern time. I am doing something that I have not done before in the past, and I'm very excited about it. I am hosting a mineral workshop. I'm calling it Minerals for Mamas. And it's going to be a pretty quick workshop. It'll probably last around 30 minutes, but then I'm going to leave time at the end for people to be able to ask questions or like get my personalized feedback on something. But I'm going to be breaking down like why are minerals important, which minerals are most important, what they do for us in our body. How do you know if you need to be supporting your minerals? How do you support your minerals? What signs and symptoms can supporting minerals like help either reduce or eliminate? And I'm gonna do it, I'm presenting everything in a way that's like very simple, easy to understand, because I think like I'm so glad that minerals are having a moment on the internet right now, because when I first started learning about minerals, I was like, people keep this secret from me? Like, I never knew that this was so important and could help me to feel so much better. And wow, I wish someone had told me sooner. So I'm glad that people are talking about it and sharing about it. But I think that sometimes it feels a little overwhelming because different people have different opinions and different theories and different like outlooks on what you should do and what you shouldn't do and what you should take and what you shouldn't take. And sometimes we get into this like, I don't know, mindset that we have to be taking a bunch of supplements to support our minerals. And, supplements are expensive. And then you get into like, well, where do I get the supplements? And is this a trustworthy site or company? And it can just be a bit much. And what I see happen is that, especially for moms, when our lives are a little overwhelming already anyway. So when something is overwhelming or difficult or it feels hard, then you're not going to do it. You're just like, well, maybe I'll learn more about that another time. Maybe I will tackle that in a few weeks, few months, like maybe when my baby's older, whatever it might be. It's just something that gets put off. And unfortunately, then you're still left in this state of like feeling tired all the time, run down, having mood swings. You're not showing up as the parent and the wife that you want to, or the friend that you want to, or all the above. And there's really help to be had with these really simple approaches to supporting minerals. And that's what I want to help like get the word out there about, along with the fact that you don't have to do it perfectly in order to feel the positive effects. Because I think excuse me, I think that's another thing that like this picture gets painted that you have to eat all the perfect things all the time or do like these certain things every single day in order for it to be beneficial or for you to see the positive effects or for it to work. And that's not the case at all. There is room for flexibility and not so optimal choices in combination with some really good choices, some really health conscious choices. I'm all about balance. And I think that you guys already know that. So that's something else that I want to cover in this workshop is just like kind of taking away the, I don't know, stereotypical need to like, you can only do it this way and it has to be done perfectly, or you might as well not bother because it's BS, in my opinion. So if you want to get signed up for that workshop, it is again happening on Friday at noon in Zoom Eastern time. Yes, there will be a recording sent out because I realize people work during the day. I get it. But that's when it will be live. But however, like if you want to sign up and you know that you just can't make it live, that's totally fine. There's going to be a replay sent out, and I'll even let you submit a question if you have one or something prior. You can just email it to me and I'll make sure to address it during that live Q&A at the end. So to get the link for that, to get signed up, you can find me on Instagram and it will be linked over there. So I hope you guys have a great week and I will talk to you soon.